Hey, it's Mike. Thanks for tuning back in. Friday, finally. Got my daughter's 13th birthday party tomorrow. 13-year-old girl. Ugh. Getting old, you guys. Getting old. So I've been thinking a lot about grading cards. And, I've been back in the hobby now 2 years. Like a lot of you, I know. A lot of you write to me to let me know that you got back into it during the pandemic too. I was really surprised at the proliferance of grading when I first got back in. It's a really interesting enhancement, I guess. I've still preferred raw cards, and I still call them raw. I know John Mangini prefers not calling them raw, which I get. Speaking of John Mangini, he alerted me to the bench clear video. Mangini did this video about is grading a scam? I think is grading a scam was the theme of the video. I don't think it's a scam, but I think I'm going to significantly reduce to almost eliminate how much I use grading. I think the only purpose for me for grading cards is if I'm planning on selling in the short term. And I have some of those cards. Like I have a second year Zion Williamson numbered to 50 that would look great in a PSA slab up on my eBay store. Right now Zion is hot. So I want to sell. I don't want a second year Zion, but somebody surely does. And that card is worth a lot of money. It would look great in a PSA 10. But what do I want to do? So Ty over at Bench Clear Media. By the way, if you're not watching Bench Clear or Chasing Cardboard, you're missing the two best channels for the hobby. Ty sent off a Trey Lance card to PSA months ago, and they sent him back a different Trey Lance card. And he's done a few videos on this. It was very hard for him to get resolution, and in fact hasn't. But I'm going to skip over all the details of this and just talk about PSA offered him $400 initially for the missing card. And then he said, I think it's more like $1,000. And they came back and said, we'll give you $700 for it, which he thought was a good resolution. First of all, I want to talk about that. I want to know, what did Ty put for the value of it? I think PSA requires raw value, but SGC requires graded value. Is that right? It seems to me that you should put down what you think the value will be after PSA grades it. And then, but this is probably exactly why PSA doesn't do that, so that they can argue your value easier. So they came back, the $400, they said, if it were graded PSA 9. And he said, I think it's $1,000. They said $700. And then he was happy. $700 for that card he was happy with. But then they wanted him to sign a waiver that said that he would not talk about it on his video, essentially. I think they really screwed that up. PSA messed this up because he was happy with the resolution, and he would have done a video saying, what a great resolution by PSA. Did they lose my card? Yes. Was their customer service slow to respond? Yes. But they responded, and they responded well. But instead, he's doing this video where he said, they had a good resolution until I had to agree not to mention this on my channel. I think PSA really messed that up. And then you have to consider they knew it was Ty because they were communicating with him through Twitter, and he told them he was going to talk about it on his channel. He had multiple channels on YouTube, and they still did this. And it makes you wonder, what did they do to the people who aren't influencers? And this is not unique to PSA. This is all these companies. They want to protect their reputation. They want to protect their brands. I've had an experience with CSG. I've submitted 2 things to CSG, two submissions. One of them came back with 1 card with an error on the label. So I let them know, and they sent me a label to a eBay or a shipping label to mail out to them. And I had the card back within a week. Fixed, new label and everything. Perfect. It was great resolution. And I know that this most of the time happens. Now, these companies grade millions and millions of cards. PSA grades like 1 million a month or some crazy number like that. And we see the errors because that's just the way things go. We see them because people do YouTube videos on them. But I'd be interested to know, what is the error rate? It's got to be well under 1% is my guess. My guess is that their quality is extraordinarily high, and we only hear about the very small number of errors. Mangini also alerted me to the fact that there was a channel, and I haven't looked this video up yet, but somebody took all these PSA 9s and they cracked them all, sent them back to PSA, and 58% of them came back as PSA 10s. And John said, he said it great, if PSA doesn't know the difference between a 9 and a 10, how can we know? And I think that's the perfect encapsulation of this. Do I want my ultra modern cards slabbed? No, I don't. I have no interest in having ultra modern cards slabbed. Think about the price. If I pay $30 for a card, do I want to pay another $18 or $20 to get it slabbed and have it come back at 9 and be worth exactly what I paid for it? No, that's a waste of my money. For me, I would rather buy more cards with that money and have the cards raw in hand. Now, I'm an autograph collector, so I still want to have many autographs authenticated, slabbed. I like this. Try to keep the light off of it. I like having it slabbed, authenticated. I don't care if the card's graded. I happen to get this super cheap. I love cards. I love autographs. I am not interested in selling cards. I would much rather give away cards. And don't comment saying, give them away to me. I give away probably more cards than I sell, and I've given away like 10 cards this year. That actually sounds right. I've probably given away 10, sold 6 to 8. But the cards I sell are big money cards, and that's how I fund my hobby. I'll sell a $600 card because I got it graded, and I think, do I need a $600 card in my collection when I can get it raw for $50? No. So I'll sell it and then I'll buy a bunch of other cards. I also don't understand, as an autograph collector, why people need to authenticate pack-pulled cards, pack-pulled autographs. Now, this coming the day after I did a video with autograph errors on cards. But for the most part, just like I said yesterday, these errors are few and far between. I'm curious what you think. Do you like to grade your cards? Do you like to grade ultra modern, or is it just vintage? Are you grading to have the grade for yourself? Are you grading for the slab? Or are you grading to sell? Are you grading to authenticate the card, like with a vintage card, a card that's highly counterfeited? I'm curious what your thoughts are. This is just me. I don't criticize anybody for doing things the way they want to do. If you want to grade your cards, that's great. I am all for people having very different hobby habits or interests. You're not into autographs? That's great. I know a lot of people who watch my channel who don't like autographs, and that's fine. People who are only into ultramodern and hate vintage, that's great. I'm just curious what you're interested in with grading. No criticism whatsoever. It's just not really for me. And I have some cards I'm going to send off to PSA as part of their $15 special this month, because they're cards that I will want to sell. Especially, I'm hearing that their cards are coming back in like a month right now, even though they're 4 to 5 month turnaround time quoted. So maybe I'll get them back in time for the baseball season, and I can ship them off and sell them come baseball. Because I have a handful that I think I can really maximize the value on. Anyway, let me know in comments. If you're new here, click that subscribe button. I really appreciate you guys watching. Have a great weekend.